Hey, everybody. We've got the Leagues Cup beginning tomorrow. New York City, one of the fortunate 18 teams in MLS to go up against the 18 sides in League MX. So all the group games, three in all, are against League MX sides for New York City FC and the rest of MLS. It starts tomorrow night in the great state of New Jersey for New York City FC. And we've got the review of a successful end to what was a grueling road trip. And Alonso Martínez, just about an hour ago, named MLS Player of the Week, or as they put it, MLS Player of the Match Day on NYCFC Views Live.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. NYCFC Views.
Collins approaches the shot, and New York City wins the first MLS Cup on their first try, and they're going crazy. Tiene el tiro y gol! Gol! New York City es el campeón de Major League Soccer.
The sickest New York City FC podcast. It's gonna be sick.
Yeah. I'm Glenn Crooks. There's Roberto Abramowitz. We will be in Harrison, New Jersey tomorrow night, where we will be providing the commentary for you in English and then over there Spanish on the New York City FC radio network, beginning at 7:45 of the pregame show. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff, or is it 8:10, or is it 8:05? I guess we'll find out when we get there, and then
we'll find out then. Also, add that we're both on Sirius tomorrow as well. So if you subscribe to Sirius, you will be on channel 157. And for me, you got to punch in 4 digits, 1999.
Yeah, we
are the top of the dial or the bottom of the dial, whichever way you want to look at it.
1999, a great year.
Prince loved it.
Prince loved it, and that's the year I was hired at Rutgers. So that was
very nice.
Yeah. So that was, there are significant moments there. So we got the Leagues Cup. So I think it's a lot more interesting this year. But if only 18 out of our 30 teams in MLS are actually playing in it because of this odd coupling of what competitions you're in and all these other things in the way they come to this decision. So we're going to go. We've got highlights from the last game, the FC Dallas game, your calls, my calls, Pascal from today. We sat with him today, and he told us some good stuff. So we're going to play some of that for you. What else do we have today? There's in the Kicking It Around segment, I know we're going to I'm going to play a clip from Don Garber's media-only presser from a couple of days ago, which I think you'll be interested in, Roberto. And this morning, a busy day for me, a couple of interviews. This morning, I spoke to John Schrader, who I know you know now, and he is a professor at the University of Nebraska, where he is in charge of the sports media and broadcasting there and has classes there. But more importantly, for 15 years, he was the San Jose Clash/Earthquakes radio and TV play-by-play announcer, and he's written some interesting things in Soccer America about soccer on the radio. So I'm going to play a clip from him near the end too, which you'll enjoy, Roberto. But so let's, and of course, we've got to at least say something about Puebla. I'm probably going to defer to you at least early on.
I'm ready for it.
I know you are, because I don't follow that league closely. What I do follow is when I watch a game, I always think, man, I enjoy it because they play fast. And that's the one thing Pascal said today when I asked him about Puebla. It's just technical and speed. And he meant speed of play. He didn't necessarily mean they ran real fast. But.
No, it's the way the ball moves, speed of thought. And you always see the difference. Yeah. Even the poor teams in Mexico, the way they move the ball around and how technically gifted some of their players might be. Now, they may not be the fastest players around or the strongest players around, but they, you give them a little bit of space and they're going to move the ball around and they're going to be better at it than most MLS teams.
All right. Well, before we get to some of that, because I do want to hear more of your analysis, really, we could go over the 3 teams are going to play, the other 2 briefly, because we're never quite certain exactly when we'll be on to talk about these things. So with Leon and then Toluca after that, which is going to be fun, and at Yankee Stadium. So this is a Dallas game. So it's the end of this 4-game swing. Hudson River Blue, I always want to give them credit because I didn't see anybody else put this out there. This was the 6th time in the history of the franchise that New York City has played 4 straight games on the road. And this particular group of games was pretty grueling, right? I mean, you start at Charlotte, then you go at Orlando, at Orlando, at Sporting KC, and then at FC Dallas. And a big part of it is we're in July, and even though we've all returned to what is a heat index of over 100 today, tomorrow, and Wednesday, so whatever that is, but they were dealing with those kinds of conditions. So 7 points from the 4 games, Roberto, which is the second best out of those 6 teams over the years. The only team that got more was Dome Toronto's 2019 team that had a 4-game stretch. They had 2 wins and 2 draws, so they had 8 points. But remember what Pascal said today when I said, hey, 7 points through 4, not bad. And he went, not really.
Yeah.
Not that great, you know.
But I think I think actually, I mean, he was deadpanning that a little bit. And I think you got to be pretty satisfied to get 7 points on the road when you consider that before this road trip started, they had just one win on the road.
Yeah. And 1 win and 7 points. So 7 points through 10 games and an additional 7 points after the last 4 road games. So
they only have 3 more road games.
Yeah.
Red Bulls, Philadelphia, and Chicago.
4. It's 6 home and 4 away, I think, right? No, let's see.
Oh, no, Chicago. Yeah, no, those are the 3.
Chicago, Philly, and who? Red Bull. That's it?
The Red Bulls, yeah.
All right. Well, the home portion of that slate.
They still have Cincinnati.
Yeah, at Cincinnati. It's 6 and 4.
Yeah,
I already calculated this. I already calculated this. It's 6 and 4. Six home, 4 away.
On your numbers, and those are the first 3 that came up in my mind. But yes, they haven't been Cincinnati either.
Hey, I'm not always good with the numbers, but I am good and very happy and satisfied and pleased and many other superlatives when the short people in this game produce. I think it's great, and when it's on a set piece, come on, man. So here's the English hometown commentary of the opening goal, 11 minutes in against FC Dallas, and an 18-year-old becomes the youngest player to score a goal in New York City FC history. Here it is.
Cleans him out before Maxim Morales can take the corner.
Morales takes it, and it's at the near post, and it's a goal. And it's Johnny Shore with his first career goal. A redirected header off the corner. And Maxim Morales, second time through, Johnny Shore just wins the header against Farrington. And New York City takes the 1-0 lead.
You cannot allow your man to get in front of you. That's why Farrington is there. He is there to make sure he's the first man to a ball that's hit short. The ball is hit short from Morales. And Farrington's weak. He kind of goes with his left forearm to stop Johnny Shore, but he just swats him away, does Johnny Shore, and he rises with a problem. Johnny Shore, one of the smallest men in the penalty area. Maxim Morales is a bit smaller than him, but he's the man providing the assist, Glenn.
Yeah. So Matty Lawrence played over 650 pro games in England as either a fullback or a center back, so he knows something about defending corners.
He does, and I was like, when I heard that, because you had sent it to me, and when I heard that and I saw his description of it, and immediately how quick he was on Farrington losing Johnny Shore, I was like, that's pretty cool. I sometimes I don't see it the way, that way. I mean, he's looking at it as an analyst, which is different than play-by-play, and so you could probably see a little bit more. I've got to follow the ball, but I was like so impressed with that analysis because of he really described why the goal happened, and that's why he's freaking fantastic. You are so lucky. Well, I mean, I am as well with Ariel, but you are really lucky with having him there.
I'm telling, if people would suck it up and do the sync thing at home, you don't have to do it. If you're at the game, I understand you can still put the phone next to your ear, even though it's delayed. You used to be able to go to the games a long time ago. There was no delay because it's just a straight AM signal. But you miss out on that. There isn't anybody. And they're good people, and they're good at what they do. But there's nobody in Apple commentary that can do what Matty does for New York City FC because he knows the team, he follows the team, but then he also sees the game in a way that that many do not. But that's you have your choice. I would say consider English and Spanish because of our closeness to the team, and that's part of what we'll bring up later with John Schrader.
Exactly. The one thing that I wanted to tell you, though, was that in my description of the goal, the first thing that came to mind was the two shortest players on the field combined for a header goal on a set piece. And if you're Dallas, right? I mean, then we saw it post game because you sent me you sent me Eric Quill's post game press conference where he's almost slitting his wrist on camera.
Well, you're going to see it. You're going to see a minor portion of that after Alonso Martínez brace. Yeah, I know.
By the way, how weird did he look with that cap on? But anyway, that's a different story.
Yeah, I don't know. I know, Eric. I'm gonna ask about the hat someday. I'm gonna let him calm down a little first after that one. It was that had to be tough to. Well, we know it was tough to take. I have never seen a coach so despondent after a game. It was 8 minutes of misery. Absolute misery. So here's Pascal today, Roberto. I brought up the goal by Johnny Shore, and the fact that they're, as you mentioned, the two little people.
I didn't say it that way.
It's okay. I'm one of them. So
you weren't involved in the goal.
Jimmy, this is Pascal describing Johnny Shore's goal today.
First goal. 5'3" Maxi Morales to 5'7" Johnny Shore. I looked it up. There's no record of this, but combined, it might be the shortest duo to score on a corner kick in the history of the game. And there's still hope for me, Pascal. Yeah,
there is. We were looking for you today set piece training. So
that's right, man. Near post headers. That's my specialty. Maybe just analyze that a little bit. How he worked his way in to get that goal.
It was the perfect picture. Rob, one of my assistant coaches is in charge of the set pieces, and this is the one he foresaw getting us an opportunity to score a goal, and it was played perfectly because the delivery was spot on, the movement, the timing was spot on, and the first touch was quality. I'm very happy for Johnny, his first goal in MLS. But I was even happier to see that we scored from a set piece as a team because that is something that the guys work on very hard in order to get this done.
And later in that interview, which is part of the pregame show tomorrow at 7:45, Pascal goes into a little more detail about how much time they spend on set pieces during the week. And Rob is Rob Bartugian, the goalkeeper coach, but also the set piece coach. So he's done both for as long as we can remember. I don't know if he was doing set pieces for Jason Christ. He probably was. I just can't remember.
I believe so. Well, actually, no, I don't think he was. No, because I think they had it afterwards, and I think it was Vieira who started it there because I think Miles Joseph was in charge of those things.
Okay,
in New York City.
I can't remember. Miles, if you're watching, chime in, would you?
Yes, that would be nice. And hi, Miles.
Miles,
one of the nicest guys in MLS.
His daughter, they live in Portland. That's where he's an assistant coach now. But no, he's moved. I mean, he was in Portland, and he's the associate head coach for the second straight year at Charlotte. But his family remained in Portland for a little bit, and his daughter played for Portland Academy, I think. But anyway, she's coming to Rutgers, which is really exciting.
Well, that's very good. Yeah. And because he was with Gio Savarese.
That's right. That is right. And was for a time he was the interim head coach for a spell out there.
Yeah, I'm sad they didn't give him the job. I think he would have been great at it.
Well, he'll get something along the line. But he's with a good guy, Dean Smith. I think he likes his position in Charlotte. I really do. All right. So Alonso Martínez. So this is the one. So here's where we're going to see part of the despondent Eric Quill. Okay. So Dallas scores at the death of the first half to make it 3-2. What a demoralizing goal for New York City. But then inside of a minute of the second half, Alonso Martínez ties it up. He scores his second goal of the game. Here's how it sounded on English. We got Roberto calling a goal soon. Don't you worry.
Hannes Wolf on the left. Alonso Martínez, near post shot is a goal. Only 35 seconds elapsed in the second half. It's a brace for Alonso Martínez from Hannes Wolf. He beats Martin Pass on the near post side. And New York City has leveled it again. It's 3-3 in Frisco, Texas.
Well, Pass just doesn't move his feet here. This is far too easy. It's a counter-attack. Hannes Wolf just plays the ball into Martinez, and he's so wide, Glenn. He can only strike the ball in one place, and that's in the near post.
Don't get beat at the front post. What happened? It used to be sacrilege. You're talking about keepers never catch the ball anymore. Now they don't guard the front post. It's sacrosanct to not permit
the
near
way
post goals.
Martinez is running, though, he's running away from that. It'd be nigh impossible for him to wrap his hips and his foot around the ball and to fire to the far post.
Really just phenomenal.
What a start. Poor old Eric Quill would be a head coach. I'm sure the last thing he said just before the team went out, just keep things tight. Make sure you keep things tight in the first 5 to 10 minutes.
3-2 at the death of the first half. 3-2 at the death of the first half. And we come out with a set play that they go from the corner all the way to goal. And it just can't happen. It just can't happen.
Okay, so I felt bad for him, but well, looking at that hat again, Roberto, you're absolutely right. Maybe part of his being despondent is the fact that the hat is too far over his forehead into his eyes or something. But anyway, but how about more Matty Lawrence, right? How about him saying that Alonso Martínez, there's no chance he could have gotten his hips around, so the keeper's got to read that. And what Pass does is he took a little move to his left, which is towards the back post, and he gave up the front post. And keepers are doing that game in and game out across the world, across the globe. This guy, Phil Wetton, who's a friend of mine, he's a Philadelphia Union goalkeeper coach. I text him every time I see one because there was one later in the day, and I can't remember what it was. But Schulte on the third goal. Go watch this one. Schulte on the third goal scored by Orlando in the 3-1 win for Orlando, near post goal. Oh. Unbelievable. Oh, and I think it was in the women's Euros that there was the German keeper who's the Gotham keeper, Berger. Yeah. She let in a near post goal that was absolutely it just against England, and that was it was a game changing moment, and it just. Like I said in the commentary, it used to be like this doesn't happen. If you beat us on the back post, God bless you. You ain't beating me on the front.
It's a soccer sin. You can't be beaten to the near post. I mean, if they beat you to the far post, they beat you to the far post. But you can't give a space where they have a shot at the near post. But
so then
changing. I'm not a goalie coach anymore, or ever was. But
well, part of it's the way their coach ran, and it's got to change because I don't know how many more goals to be scored at the front post that it'll take. I forgot. Phil had a great phrase. Did I say it last week? He had a great phrase for it. He goes, "Don't," but in a sense, the phrase meant don't go for something that's not there. Just make sure you say what is in front of you, not what you think might happen. Yeah, say what is going to happen, not what you think might happen. It's something to that effect.
They're outsmarting each other themselves in these things.
Yeah,
they really are. And they look really bad when you get beat to the near post. It just looks horrific.
So I want everybody viewing this or watching it or watching the recording or listening to it on the podcast, whatever. I want you to focus on this when you're watching games. Because everybody here probably watches a lot of games, and I just want you to check it out and see if you agree with me on this. I wanted to mention the next thing is the game winner, Alonso Martínez game winner. So here we've got to Roberto, and here's the
call. This is not. No, mine's the same one as yours. Mine was the second goal, mine was the one that tied the game.
Oh, I'm sorry. I asked you for the game winner, but maybe it didn't come across. Okay, that's my fault too. Then I didn't check.
Okay, sorry.
All right, well, play it anyway.
And I there's a comment that I make, and so let's see if you can pick up on the comment that I make right off the bat. Okay, because it's like the whole sequence starts at kickoff.
Well, with a throw-in. It was a New York City throw-in.
Starts even before the throw-in.
All righty.
Okay. Pick up on this, guys.
Entonces estamos listos ya para arrancar la segunda mitad. New York City de derecha a izquierda en su uniforme negro y está haciendo FC Dallas lo que normalmente hace el PSG, que es despejar rápido y hacerlo hacia una banda para que New York City tenga que hacer el saque de banda y luego presionar los altos y a ver si pueden robar el balón.
Podemos confirmar que eso es lo único en que se parecen FC Dallas y PSG, ¿no? Porque no veo otra similitud.
No, y fácilmente rompe de New York City la jugada defensiva. Martínez tira y ¡gol! Martínez, segundo del partido. En el contragolpe le salió terrible a FC Dallas la estrategia. New York City rompe fácilmente la presión alta y meten un gol en 37 segundos en la segunda mitad y estamos empatados 3-3.
Qué bien, qué rápido, qué rápidamente ponen en orden las cosas, o al menos logran el empate. No es poner en orden, pero volver a meterse en el encuentro rápidamente por parte de New York City. Gran disparo de Alonso, ajustado contra el poste, roza el poste de hecho, y eso termina de desacomodar a Paz, que ya estaba, creo yo, superado con el primer disparo de Martínez.
I couldn't pick it out. I'm not sure.
So what we talked about is like, oh, FC Dallas is pulling a PSG because from the kickoff they went and they buried the ball onto the sideline. They kicked off to kick the ball out of bounds into the sideline, and then they were going to press high. And Ariel immediately chimes in and says, the only thing that FC Dallas looks like as far as PSG is concerned is the fact that they kicked the ball out of bounds. And that was it. And then sure enough, they break the pressure in two passes. And before you know it, Alonso's got the ball, right there and shoots it off the post. And
wonderful.
You said 35 seconds. I said 37. Officially, it wound up being 36. We split the difference.
I mentioned the same thing, but I talked about and didn't compare the PSG. So very good on your part. It was just we talked about how that is for some teams a tactic. Just kick it as deep as you can out of bounds and then pin them in and then win the ball and score. So kudos to New York City for solving that, and then for Alonso Martínez to finish it, and then his game winner was, the nice part about that is that the new kid on the block was involved with it. So Nico Fernandez-Marcal, he comes on and assists on it. It's really a special assist. And again, Pascal will talk about it on the pregame show tomorrow at 7:45. Because we don't play everything on NYCFC Views Live. We just we can't play everything.
No. Your conversations sometimes go quite long.
But one thing I want to true. One thing I want to say about Alonso Martínez, and I'm going to pin Esteban Camino in our communications department down soon because I've talked to Alonso about this. Is that I know we can't have a long feature conversation in English. It'll have to be in Spanish with perhaps you could be in the room as well as Esteban.
Esteban is great at translating these things.
Yeah,
he really
he's so good. So I'm going to hand him a mic, Alonso and me, and then I'm going to translate it, transcribe it, and do a written article because he's got such an interesting story, Roberto. Look at where he grew up. This is Chira Island. And it's just this is in Costa Rica. He had to take a boat to school sometimes. When he started moving up the ladder as far as going to different clubs, Alajuelense, he had to take a boat to. It was like a 90-minute that way, 90-minute this way, and. There was such an effort, and he's just such a joyful guy, and it's just the way it was, It's just
and Costa Rica just in general. I mean, I've been there, I vacationed there. It is such a lovely place, and the people are, they really, really are.
No question about it.
That's why they call it pura vida, pure life.
One day we'll do that, and then I'll play it on here, and you can help translate it or something. But I think his story has to be told. He is the guy. I mean,
Yes.
he is the man, and that is that. So
You know,
we need
with
to
the
tell his story.
criticisms that David Lee has taken for some of the signings that haven't possibly worked out as well, the Mijatoviches of the world, the Bakrars of the world, you got to give him credit for Martinez. You just 100% have to give him credit for Martinez, because that has turned out to be an absolute brilliant signing. And, you know, you're not going to get all of them right. Look at Atlanta. How many guys they've signed, and like for gazillions of dollars and everything, and none of them seem to work out. And sometimes you're going to get that. Some guys are going to work. Sometimes they're not going to work. And Martinez, you know, he turned out to be a diamond in the rough, because they didn't expect him to be playing center forward, just like they didn't expect Tati Castellanos to be playing center forward. But all of a sudden you see him practice that he's got the skills to be able to play this position. And you're like, you know, maybe we should probably move him over here. And it worked out. So it's worked out twice for this team now. I mean, that's pretty freaking impressive. No wonder they try to keep on, you know, doing that again. They keep on thinking it's easy. It's happened twice. Why can't we do this with everybody? But it's not easy.
Well, the next one it needs to happen with is maybe Nico Fernandez-Mercal, because I'll tell you what, I mean, eventually you think he'll be the 10 for the team. He'll move more central. But for now, I thought the most interesting thing Pascal said in the interview today, or one of the more interesting things, is he made it sound like he wants him and Maxi on the field together, you know, from the start of the match as a tactical alignment. And I think that's interesting, because the way he put it is now we have two playmakers on the field instead of just one. And imagine if they had Keaton Parks also.
Yeah.
So this is the difficult part, because you know, Pascal Jansen's team, his current team, the New York City Football Club, can't quite do all the things he would like them to do, because they don't have all the personnel that they desire. And one of them is in their house, and he just has this mystery foot injury. It's probably not a mystery to the club, but I think for most of us, we're just not sure exactly where it's at. And it doesn't look good. I mean, it's, you know, there hasn't been a peep, and he's not training. I mean, he's not close to training. So yeah, it's really unfortunate. But I thought that was pretty. So I think once we'll see what goes on in these Leagues Cup matches. Maddie and I was going to play that clip. Maddie and I said, let the guy go on vacation. Just let him go. Let him just say, Max, you're not playing in the Leagues Cup. Just go off to an island with your family, your wife and your kids, and just take some time off.
He is a physical marvel. Yeah. He's number 2 on the team. I checked the stats lately, but I can't see.
No, you're right.
Not big.
You're
number
right.
2 on the team in minutes played behind Justin Hack.
Yeah.
So I mean, Hack is what, 25 years old. Maxi's 38. I mean, Maxi played. If he didn't play,
Hack's not 25. Hack's like 22 or something, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's older than that. Hack's older than that now.
Well, I lost
He's
track.
Been around for a while.
Hack, how old are you? We should know. I don't have my notes. Sometimes
I left my phone inside to go and look at that quickly, so I don't have that. But yeah, he's I believe he's 25 now. You can go look that up.
I've got it right in front of me. I don't know what about your phone. Get a computer and have it over. He's 23. So what did you said 25? I said 22. I was close. Okay.
23, not bad. I have my computer here, but the queen is laying on it, and nobody moves the queen.
All right.
That's Xena.
The other thing we chatted about with Pascal, you and I both, you asked the question in the presser, I did in my pregame, and really we don't have a clear understanding of what really went wrong in his mind, but the Tavon Gray, Micha Ilinic on the right side of the defense did not work. And at halftime, Ilinic came out, Gray went to the right, Tanasiewicz came in, and it settled things down, because the 2 shot attempts, no shots on goal, I think was the second half stats for Howard.
Matt Freese was quite not busy in the second half of that game.
So part of that worked, and I just want to make a note too, Roberto, before we go on a little bit here. The Leagues Cup roster came out, and look, there has been no announcement about Monsef Bakrar, but he's not on the Leagues Cup roster, so Dinamo Zagreb is his next destination. We haven't heard. We heard he was probably there on a medical. So as long as he passed the medical, it seems evident that there's an agreement in place. But none of that is factual. But it is factual he's not on the Leagues Cup roster. So he's played his last game for the New York City Football Club.
That is accurate.
Yeah.
And so I don't know when the deadline is. I mean, it said official rosters. I don't know if you can add players or not. And so we have to, it's something that we have to check out to see if they can add players or not, just in case they do wind up signing. I mean, the window's open, and this is not only for New York City, but every team. If they do wind up signing some players between now and, almost the end of August or the third week of August.
I think it's August 12th. I think that's what's stuck in my head. I don't know for sure. But yeah, well, there's a central defender that played for Pascal in Hungary that everybody is saying it looks like it's happened. Matt Doyle put something out today. Justin Egan with the outfield, who was pretty spot on with Nico Fernandez-Mercado when he wrote the headline a week before it was announced, "Welcome to New York." So he's got, is it Gustavo? The center back, Gustavo. I think that's
Raul
it.
Gustavo, I believe it is.
So left-footed central defender, which is a almost in at least in that respect would be a like for like replacement for Burke Reeson, and give some depth back there with Thiago Martins down. Who knows how long? They said 4 to 6 weeks. That's for his
before
return
he can
to
start training.
Right, that's his return to training. So it's 2 weeks after that before he's going to be in a game. At minimum, I think that's pretty standard. So,
August 21st, by the way, is the close of the window. It opened July 24th, ends August 21st.
Cool. Thank you.
So they got some time to, bring some people in.
What do they call that when you get the numbers backwards? I had the 12th, so that's something in my brain. Oh, is it? Okay. I didn't think I had that, but maybe I do.
Let's add that to everything else.
DC United 2, Austin 4. DC United winless in 8. That was a home game. And Benteke scored really late in the game to make it 4-2. So they changed
the natives are restless.
They changed the coaches and nothing. So Troy Lesesne, love him or hate him, it's pretty ridiculous. And Zach Wilson, his assistant, they were a tandem. They were everywhere together. And so no new coach bump at all.
There isn't. Not only that, but I think the fans have it right. They fired the wrong people. They should fire the ownership. And that's what the fans were demanding, because at the end of the game, and Stephen Goff's last article about DC United as he took a buyout for the Washington Post, God, we're going to miss Stephen Goff.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure he'll wind up doing something else.
Yeah, he'll figure something out.
Yeah. But the fans were chanting, "Sell the team. Sell the team." And look, at this point, I don't blame him, because just bringing in one guy who's really good. Everybody in this league, would love to have Benteke, because he's fabulous. And the fact that he's able to do the things he's able to do with a almost clownish supporting cast, right? You can't run a team like that. DC United used to be the model franchise in this league when they had Bruce Arena, when they won, 4 titles.
Long time ago.
Yeah, I know. And they had huge support. The whole city of DC was invested. The Latin community was invested. The Salvadorian community used to come out in droves, watching the stands, in front of the cameras at RFK, bouncing up and down, because that's where the supporters were, right at midfield. That was freaking awesome. The atmosphere was so inviting. You wanted to be there. You were like, what a cool thing. And now the place is a funeral parlor.
Well, they should move back at RFK. It's still there, right?
No, not really. It's like whatever they haven't demolished is falling apart.
Well, it can't be any worse.
Build the new
can't be any worse than the press box
now than it was then.
No, it can't be any worse than the press box now than it was then. Anyway.
Oh no, the press box at Audi Field is a nightmare. Because they did just like their team, they were cheap with the damn stadium, and they did everything poorly and backwards. They really did.
Yeah, it's an absolute nightmare. The press area, radio, and if you do the TV broadcast, you're in decent
great.
shape. If you're doing radio, not so much. And we should say kudos to the New York City Football Club. We've seen some of the blueprints and some of the designs of Etihad Park, and there are enough radio booths for both home and away. For those that travel, radio booths. So that's, I mean, that speaks volumes about how they're covering every aspect of this from a media standpoint and a broadcast standpoint. So we probably haven't publicly said thanks for that because it's big. It's a big deal.
Yeah, they've taken care of radio and TV very, very well in that stadium.
Philadelphia
2027 cannot come soon enough.
No.
Especially with my eyes getting worse every year, and the 70-yard distance from our booth at Yankee Stadium to just the sideline.
Well, I'll tell you what. I have it when Agustin Ojeda, Maxi Morales, Nico Fernandez, and Alonso Martínez are on the field together, and they're over sort of in that corner. It's gonna. I'm telling you,
nightmarish.
We're gonna have a tough time.
Oh my God! You know how many times? I mean, this goes back to when David Villa was here. I mean, you know how many times I've called a goal and then said a name, and then in my head I'm like, "Oh my God, please be that guy! Please be that guy! Please be that guy!" And it turns out it's like that. It was like, but there's been a couple of times where I've blown the call because I couldn't really see who it was.
Really, if you don't know who it is at Yankee Stadium or Citi Field, you wait, you look at the monitor, and you look to see who's celebrating or who they gather around, and then you know.
Yeah, I know.
Sometimes that's the strategy. Philadelphia 3, Colorado 1. The point here, Philadelphia is the Supporter Shield leaders, which is pretty fantastic. Amazing. Bradley Carnell, man, and I'll tell you, that game against Colorado, I watched a lot of it. They were buzzing. They are right now in their prime. So I just want to talk about Colorado, though, because they've got Zach Steffen, and it's one of the competitors to Matt Freese along with Matt Turner, I would assume, and I don't know who else will emerge from all this for the U.S. men's national team number 1, right? I mean, so it's to watch these games closely is important. It is. I couldn't believe this when I heard it or read it. 9th straight road game that Colorado has conceded at least 2 goals. And in those 9 games, they've allowed 22 goals. Steffen has been in goal for all of them. Now, I'm going to tell you, he had a decent game against Philadelphia because this is not an exaggeration. Anybody watch this, I think, would agree. That game could have been 9-1. It could have been 9-1. That's how bad Colorado was. In a text or on the phone or something the other day off mic, I was telling we were discussing how many bad teams there are in MLS, and it's too many. And how many average teams there are in MLS? It's too many. So we counted 17 bad or average teams, bang average or bad teams in Major League Soccer out of 30. Yeah. That doesn't sound good, does it?
It doesn't, which is, part of the complaint that, we've had for a long time, that they've got to do something about the salary cap, that you not only have to elevate the salary cap to bring in better players, and they've got to change the rules of how you spend your money as well. And if they want to keep DPs, I'm all for it. But, if you right now, the salary cap is somewhere around $7 million, I think it is. But most teams are spending about $25 million. Let them spend $25 million if they want to put DPs. If they want to spend $1 million on players in every position, then you've got 20 players at $1 million. That's $20 million. And you want to have a couple of DPs or 3 DPs that you want to spend $4 million. Fine, do that. Let them spend, as opposed to having 2 or 3 guys that are making $15 million and everybody else is like $100,000. It doesn't allow you to have, basically strong teams and teams that are even. But if you elevate the cap, you also have to elevate the floor, and they have to do what the NBA does. And maybe it's not 85%, maybe it's 80%, maybe it's 75%, but the floor has to be at least that from the ceiling. So you can't just be cheap all the time. I mean, it works for some teams. Obviously, Philadelphia is, spending peanuts, but they've spent it very well. But it doesn't always quite work that way. And we've seen a lot of, really, really bad teams spend a lot of money and blow it. Atlanta, Toronto being prime examples of that.
Well,
but in general, it should help.
Philadelphia, man, so much of it is their academy. Now, Quinn Sullivan now, is he playing? He's playing out of his brain, man. And, he's a big part of what's going on there now, too. So
and Kevin Sullivan is training with Manchester City for 2 weeks.
Yeah. Interesting. Well, he's going to go there eventually.
2027.
Yeah. Then he's 18 years old. How about that? Columbus signed a DP, Wassim Abu Ali, as a designated player. And I mentioned him because Matty Lawrence actually called the game for what was it on? What were those games on? Club World Cup. Anyway, whatever it was on.
DAZN.
DAZN, yeah. And that was that 4-4 game against Porto for Al Ali, and he had 3 of the goals. He had a hat trick. So I asked Matty about him, and Matty said he was good, but he's curious to see how he does in MLS because it's just a different league, and it might take time for him to adapt. But there you go. I mean, Columbus. I guess he's the Cucho Hernandez replacement.
Yes, and can you imagine that they're playing as well as they are, and without having replaced Cucho Hernandez, who left very quickly this season?
Yeah, well, they're the top 4 teams in the Eastern Conference. I mean, let's face it. So you got Philadelphia, Cincinnati, Nashville, Columbus, and then Miami's 5th, and they could be number 1, before the end of the year without issue. So. And Orlando's only 3 points behind Columbus. And then, we should look at what New York City is. They're tied with Charlotte for 7th position on points. New York City has more points per game than Charlotte. So you could put New York City in the 6th hole. So that's the way the Eastern Conference is kind of shaping up. Over in the West, I don't know if you saw this. I just saw this before we went on. Tom Bogert reporting that St. Louis City SC has Peter Vermes on their radar.
Oh. So, another coaching change, and
so that would be. I feel like that's a good fit. Maybe it's because it's so close to Kansas City. I don't know.
Well, they're direct rivals, so that would be pretty interesting. That's like a coach from New York City going to go play for go coach the Red Bulls, or vice versa.
It's not quite. No, it's nothing like. I don't think it's like that.
They haven't built it up yet, but I mean, St. Louis is in their second year, third year, whatever.
Well, that's what I mean.
So you got to give it.
You can't compare those. You cannot compare those, man.
Okay, eventually in 10 years.
Eventually, all right. If it happens in 5 years, we'll give it to you.
Okay.
Vancouver, apparently, and there's multiple reports here. Thomas Mueller, the German international striker, Bayern. I mean, he is. I love that guy. So I hope he comes into MLS. And if he's with
that would
Vancouver,
be great.
Yeah.
And I love to watch Vancouver play. Although, what are you doing? What are you doing with Brian White if you're bringing him in?
Well, Brian White is a versatile player. He'll figure it out. The coach will figure it out, Sorensen, and Brian White will figure it out. That's what I would say to you, Roberto Abramowitz. That's what.
That's fine.
Let's see. Just 2 more notes, and then we'll kick it around. New York City.
I have one more. One more note for you after when you're done.
Is it for kicking it around, or is it for the before?
It's MLS, wherever you want to put it.
All right, put it. You go first. Let's keep MLS in our gear.
Okay, so let's do this. Okay, the attendances this week were fantastic.
right.
There's so much criticizing of MLS and everything, and we know that the attendances. And we know that it's tickets distributed, right? It's so if somebody doesn't show up for a game and they paid for their ticket, fine. I mean, I have my season tickets, and sometimes Eddie can't go, and sometimes I try to give them away. It doesn't happen because of timing or whatever. Doesn't matter. Seat counts. I paid for it. It gets registered as tickets sold. Okay. But some of the attendances this week sort of really threw me for a loop. And probably the one that threw me for the biggest loop was Chicago. Okay. They had 29,273 in Soldier Field for the Red Bulls.
Well,
and they won that game 1-0.
Emil Forsberg's a big draw, man.
I guess so. I don't know what they were giving away. If somebody knows if there was some big giveaway or some promotion that we don't know about, I want to know why Chicago got 29,000. And I hope when New York City goes up there and they get 30,000 or more and they're rabid, fans. I want a great atmosphere. I don't want Soldier Field to feel, cavernous. I want it to feel alive. So if anybody knows, send it. Now, Atlanta, only 40,409. And I say only 40,000 because they used to get 44,000, by rote. And then there were always people trying to get in and couldn't get in. Now, they're having such a hard time. That's such a hard time. And, people since last year started staying away. They buy the tickets. They're not going to the games. And now they didn't even sell out their reduced capacity sellout. So that was weird.
They're the only team. Now, they do have 4 wins at Mercedes-Benz. That's not great. They have 4 losses, 4 wins, and 5 draws, but it's their only 4 wins of the season out of 24 games. They have yet to win a game on the road. It's poor old Ronnie Dyla, man. I feel bad, but I
feel bad for him because I like him, but for what we're hearing is that part of this, he's partly responsible for what's going on. So, he's got to take some of the blame for what's happening. He can't be a victim of all of this.
No,
this is like a whole season to put together with, a roster where they brought in, a lot of talent and paid a lot of money. So, you would expect. Now, New York City against Dallas, they got 11,004 according to the report.
I can't hear Roberto. Can you hear Roberto? Jimmy, write in the notes. Can everybody hear Roberto, or is it just me that can't?
I'm there.
Because this happened last time.
Yeah, that was.
And everybody could hear him but me.
Time.
I can hear.
What
is going on
he can
with
hear me.
my?
It's you.
I know.
It's you, Glenn.
Jimmy, I'm leaving and coming back. See it.
Last time he blamed me for this, and it wasn't me. So, and I went and I changed everything, and I could hear Glenn too. If it would have been better if I couldn't, but whatever. Let me go back to the attendances, and then you people could chime in as well on your thoughts on all of this. So FC Dallas is redoing their stadium. They're averaging 11,004, and their capacity is 11,500. It's going to take 4 years, and it's a $182 million investment to get that stadium up and running again the way they want it. With they're finally putting a roof on it. Not a total roof. It's not going to be a dome, but the seats are finally going to be covered, and there's going to be shade. He goes, that is a freaking nightmare of a place to watch a game if the sun is still out in the middle of summer.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that they're finally making that investment. It's going to take 4 years to get it done. So they started with the far stands. And one of the things that I mentioned, and I mentioned to Ariel, and with all those, with the advertising and everything covering the seats, it just reminded me of 2020 COVID.
Oh, yeah. It had a real COVID feel on TV in particular.
Yeah.
That, it's for people watching the game. It's like, woo, because somebody put in their notes, I think even in our comments here today, it's like nobody was there. Well, they still had, their 10, 11,000. So very good. Well, let's kick it around now that I have my senses back here.
Well, that's good. And by the way, we got to still talk about Puebla.
Well, we're going to kick it around. So Don Garber did a little thing before the All-Star game, right? The the commissioner of MLS. He twice a year he addresses the media, once at the All-Star game and then once at before MLS Cup, the MLS Cup final, and then that's sort of called the State of the State, that one. And he usually provides good information. I thought there's a number of things people wanted to know about, and Roberto, that day, the day he spoke in the morning time, the owners met and they still didn't come to an agreement or a conclusion as to whether they were going to move the calendar to a FIFA European calendar. But Here's Don Garber, pre-All-Star game that night, just talking a little bit about that.
Wanted to hone in on the calendar change that you alluded to. First of all, why hasn't a vote happened? Is there, I guess, a reason for that? Do the league have to have an agreement with the MLSPA to make this happen? And thirdly, is there any sense or worry of a missed opportunity for it to not happen after the 2026 World Cup? Thank you.
Well, if it's going to happen, it's going to happen after the 2026 World Cup. So that I can assure you of, Tom. When you have a league for 30 years that's based on a basic premise, I mean, what do leagues do? They set the schedule. If you were going to go look at the job description for a commissioner and a league office, the first thing they do is set the schedule. And then they're about how do you properly bring owners together to make decisions about the governance of the league, and how do you build all the different activities in and around it, from your players to your player pool, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So making this change is seismic. It's not something we should do lightly. We obviously have teams across multiple climate zones, multiple time zones, unlike any other league in the world. And if we do make the change, we're not going to go back on that decision. And there are a number of key benefits to it. Aligning with the world standard, we think, is important for our brand as we try to continue to engage as one of the important, influential leagues in the world. We want to align with on the calendar to be able to be even more engaged on the player transfer market. This year, by year end, we could have $150 million in player sales. Compare that to where we were years ago. Imagine what that will be when we're aligned on the international calendar. We also have our most important games in the busiest part of the calendar, right? And I think where we are today in the fall might be or winter might be very different when the league was founded. The league continues to have its cup later and later and later in December. And that is a challenge that is got to be addressed. And then very importantly, how do we ensure that when we make that decision, our facilities are ready for it, and our fans are ready for it, and our corporate partners are ready for it. So I would rather get it right and take our time than get it wrong and do it quick, because life's a long time when it comes to something like your schedule. As it relates to our players, they're one of our key stakeholders. No different than our fans, no different than our partners, corporate partners, no different than our owners who are building facilities and would have to get some of them to be climate ready. So we'll sit down with everybody at the right time, and I'm confident we'll make the right decision.
Who have to get some of their facilities to be climate ready. So they've talked very thoroughly about this and how they might overcome some of the weather issues, which you brought up last week. And we had a good back and forth early on in our podcast last week about that. But it's the truth, and you have to prepare the best you can. But it's going to happen. I think
eventually it's going to happen. Kevin Rogers put up a question, so put that one up, because we're going to talk. We'll talk a little bit about it. What's going to wind up happening? So anyway, the question. There we go. What are Northern teams supposed to do? Right? Play on the road? Well, that's going to be part of it. That's absolutely going to be part of it. But the thing is that the league is going to go into a recess somewhere in mid to late December until maybe early February. There's going to be a recess. And, there are some leagues, especially in Scandinavia, that wind up doing this. Even the Bundesliga, I believe, takes off a couple of weeks.
Yeah, Germany is. They play futsal indoors during that. Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
But the climate, especially the northern climate, is just much more severe here in the United States, and to say nothing of Canada, than they have in Germany. And so it's very, very hard. And you've gotta, Glenn and I had this conversation last week. You do have to think about your fans. And I don't want to have another situation of what happened in Minnesota when the U.S. national team played Honduras, right? I don't want to have that. Glenn doesn't seem to mind. We had the conversation. I'm not going to.
No, I didn't say that. So don't play the roll the tape back, Jimmy. No,
okay.
I said a lot of those conditions you can dress for. If it's 40 below or 50 below wind chill, you can't dress for that. But if it's at 0 or even 10 below, you can dress for that. Now, and out of 17 home games, and if you schedule it properly, whatever these climate-ready things that Don Garber's talking about that help with all this in certain stadiums, that there might be a couple of games where you just have to deal with that. And if it's a Honduras situation, you postpone. So that's what I was saying. I think I'm not saying any of this is easy, but I'm saying there's ways around it. And you know what? You know what? Sometimes there's suffering involved.
It's
reminds
going to
me,
happen. But
I'll tell you what it reminds me of. It reminds me of talking to Vanni Sartini, who is a self-proclaimed socialist, and he uses the word collectivism as to how he organizes his teams, and that's what this zonal marking is all about. Everything's about you don't follow any players. You just follow the ball, and you as a unit you work together. But it kind of reminds me of that, because it's like, yeah, sometimes you suffer, but it's the individual giving unto the group. And I just think in MLS there's 30 teams. Some of the teams are going to suffer, and some of the supporters are going to have to sacrifice.
But they're going to have to
make
that they're going to make they're going to schedule games where maybe New York City's on the road for the last 2 or 3 games of the a fall into winter, and then the first 2 games of winter into spring. Like New York City basically does now, which is they normally play 1 or 2 games on the road. New York City has never opened a season at home. They're 11-for-11 on the road. So you have enough warm weather sites, or at least not freezing weather sites and domes, where you can actually play games in some of those areas. But that's the way it eventually is going to be. I really believe that they're going to go and make this change eventually, because they're more interested in aligning financially with being able to buy and sell players. I don't think it works best for the league of who they compete against, although, you can make the argument that going up against college football on a Saturday or on a Friday night when you're playing MLS Cup is very, very hard versus maybe playing it against an NBA night or an NBA, NHL, MLB night, which is what it's going to be when they play, in early June. They're going to be going up against the NBA Finals, the Stanley Cup, and the Major League Baseball.
All right, so that was Commissioner Garber, who also in this presser, Roberto, and this is what I brought up with John Schrader, but Don Garber gave us numbers as far as Apple TV MLS Season Pass viewership, and he gave it a unique number, and he called it more than 50%. I think he said 50% more than the year before, but I think this is the first time we've heard exact numbers. But this is John Schrader, who's a professor at the University of Nebraska. Sports broadcasting is his forte. That's his bailiwick, and he was a play-by-play announcer for the San Jose Clash and San Jose Earthquakes for years, and now he's writing columns for Soccer America. The reason I brought him on is because he just wrote a column about soccer on the radio, which was really intriguing. But I asked him about this, the revealing of numbers. Here we go.
What did you think? You just made me think of Don Garber's pre-game presser. Media only before the MLS All-Star game, but for the first time, I'm certain it was the first time, because we've all been begging for the numbers.
We have
we heard numbers: 120,000 unique listeners on Apple TV MLS Season Pass for every game. That's the average, I believe. Maybe he was coming up with. I don't know. What did you decipher from that, and what do you think of the fact that there's actually been? So, and he also said that was a 50% increase from a season ago.
I think it needs more context. We need to better understand what that 120,000 means. Is that per window? Is that per game? Is that on a night? If it's on one Saturday night, that's fewer people than were watching on linear television. I don't think that's what they meant. What I'd like to do is get to page 2 of that. And that is, what does that mean? Is that per minute? Is that per window? Is that per game? If that's per game, that's pretty impressive. There's no way
if you have 15 games on a Saturday night and you're getting 120
million.
per game, it just didn't sound right to me. Well,
No.
I mean, that'd be great if it was, but we don't know. Yeah.
And
So
I
thought you might have more.
I wish I did. I reached out to someone over the weekend. I said, "Can you please tell me what that means?" And they said, "I don't know." So, in fact, there's a couple of phone calls I'm going to make this afternoon, and when I find out, I'll let you know.
All right, so I'm awaiting that call.
Yeah, I'm interested as well. But let's put some context into that, okay? 120,000 per game. So let's just say per window. So now we're talking about 15 games. So, right, it's 30 teams, 15 games. So what are we looking at?
Over 1 million.
Huh? Oh, it's way
over a million.
It's 1 million. And yeah, it's 120 times 15. So it's almost closer to 2 million, almost really, because it's 15 games. So 100. So it's 1.5 million without the 20, and so 20 times 15 is 30.
I don't have a calculator.
At 1.8 million, I would think. If my math, please, guys, do the math for me. Kevin, let's go. KP, do the math for me. But I'm thinking it's 1.8 million.
Then why? If that's the case, why not say it? That's a lot. That's a big number.
It is a big number. Now how it's not evenly divided, right? I mean, we understand this. We know that Inter Miami is getting the lion's share of that because of Messi, and then everybody else gets little bits and pieces. There's no way that take a team, Dallas, is getting the same ratings as Inter Miami, or even New York City per se, or the Red Bulls, or anybody else. So we get that. Now, if it was just like a linear broadcast on Fox or on ABC or something like that, and they got a 1 million, on a Saturday, everybody would be jumping up and down because they actually averaged around 320, 350 on ESPN and on Fox, FS1 rather, and then on straight TV, linear TV, ratings were anywhere between 350, 750, sometimes 1 million, depending, when the broadcast was or what the game was. I get that,
but the point here, I think, Roberto, is we don't have the context.
No, I know.
That's what he's saying. He's trying to find out, what does that figure mean?
But also, let's remember, right, that you have 15 teams every weekend whose season ticket holders are Apple TV subscribers and MLS Season Pass subscribers, because they get that for free, who are not watching games on television because they're at the stadium.
Yeah. I know. I'm anxious to see what he comes up with if it gets disclosed. Let's face it, there's a good chance he will not get. That's John Schrader, who we were just chatting with there. There's a good chance he will not get a response or a straight answer, because it just doesn't, but it's the reason we're begging for the numbers is because we're just curious. And we like attendance, and we like TV numbers, and we like our radio numbers too. So we like numbers. Like, we want to know what's going on, man. So that's all.
Because we want to see the numbers grow. We want to see the sport grow. We want to see the sport be successful. I want to see that, that they get, all of a sudden, ratings like the WNBA is getting right now. They brought in Caitlin Clark, and their numbers went through the roof on everything. And so, that's the same reason why MLS brought in, Messi, and then, Alba was there, Busquets is there, and now, they're getting Rodrigo de Paul. So, they're trying to bring in players, and these guys actually, they put fannies in seats, and they put eyes on television and ears listening to radio. Those type of players. That's why I want to see more of them. I want younger ones, mind you, but I want to see more of them.
You just mentioned the WNBA, and I just sent this to my son because he's a card collector. This came from Front Office Sports. A Caitlin Clark logo woman rookie card sold for $660,000 2 days ago.
Oh, wow.
To break the women's sports card record by 80%. The sports card record that was broken was Mia Hamm when she was a rookie, and I think it was WUSA back that first women's league for $34,000. Her rookie card. Caitlin Clark, oh my God! You know what?
Can I tell you a quick story?
I had a Nolan Ryan rookie card, by the way, that I gave to somebody for a very little amount of money. But go ahead.
My friend Dara Kennedy, who does a lot of work for a lot of international television stations and also works for WINS, and she's an anchor there, and she does a lot of things. Brilliant woman. So she went down and covered the Super Bowl. And when she got back from the Super Bowl, she brought me like a care package just full of stuff. So there was like a Philadelphia Eagles glass, which Eddie wanted to break. There was, I don't know, a whole bunch of little things, including football trading cards. And my son, I gave the cards to Eddie, and he comes running out of the room and he says, I think I got a really valuable card. And I was like, what? Anyway, to make a long story short, one of the cards he got that was in this pack was really valuable. I mean, and he wound up selling it for like $5,000.
Oh my God!
Yes. So I
Eddie,
I told Eddie that he owes me and Dara dinner.
Well, I've been nice to him. I think I'll be in on that dinner too, man. I've been a nice uncle.
You did not give him a $5,000 card.
No, I did. Well, that is a wild story. I will share that with my son, who will probably be somewhat jealous because he gets these cards and he's looking for it. And he almost cried for me when I said I got rid of the Nolan Ryan rookie card for like nothing, because that's probably worth, I don't know, that's one of those $50,000 cards.
Oh, I think it's more than that. You see the place that you're renting, that you're sitting in? You could own that.
Okay. All right. Well, let's close the show with I want just a couple of minutes on Puebla, Roberto, and that's the opponent tomorrow night. And I we've gone in a lot of different directions. It's okay. We could talk about them more on the next pod after the game. But go ahead.
Yeah. Anyway, so they had a really tough season last year. They got only 8 points, and so they decided that they were going to try to rebuild the team as best as they could. They didn't re-sign Jose Chepo de la Torre, who was their coach. He was their coach through May of this year, and then they said thank you, but no thank you. So they hired Argentine coach Pablo Guede. Like most of the coaches in Mexico, they're foreigners. So he's there. This is a team that decided to get younger, much younger. They've played a lot of kids that are coming out of the academy. And they have like 1 or 2 players that are like, one's 32, which is a goalie. And then a couple of other ones are like 25. And then everybody else is like 22 or 23. So Jesus Rodriguez was their goalie. He's replaced Julio Gonzalez as their goalie. And then you're going through this team and you don't really know a lot of players. I mean, you go through them and there's not a lot of players that you go, wow, this guy's interesting or that. But yet they started the season. They lost to Atlas 3-2. Then they went and they lost their second game 1-0, rather 2-1 to Mazatlan. And then they came back and they beat Santos Laguna on last Friday, and they beat them 1-0. So Ricardo Marin with the only goal of the match. But they did it. They played really well, and I don't know if it's that Santos Laguna was just that poor, or is that poor because I haven't looked a lot at Santos Laguna. But they look good. They were attacking down the flanks. The one thing that they did do is that they had a million chances and they just missed them all but one. And it was just like, if you're a Puebla fan, you see all the creation and you have these balls that are just like in the area, nobody there. and you're whacking at them, and they're going up, they're going wide, they're going this way, they go every place but on frame. The gang that can't shoot straight, and you hope that they don't fix it against.
So what you're saying, what you're saying is that you expect maybe a little bit better game than you did like a week ago when we were talking about this, and because of how they had failed in the Clausura with only 2 wins the whole season, and they scored 12 goals in 17 matches or something ridiculous.
It is. So here's some context of what this win meant. They broke an 11-game streak without a win. There were 0 wins, 10 losses, and 1 tie. So that's their first win that they got this weekend since February 21st. The tie, by the way, was a pretty good tie because they tied Tigres, which is a good team, April 4th. So their last win on that February 21st was against Tijuana, which wasn't all that great, and they won 2-0. And their last away win, because they're going to be playing away at Sports Illustrated Stadium, was against Santos on February 2nd of 2025. Since then, there were 0 wins, 7 losses, 0 ties since they won that game against Santos again, of all teams. So this is what New York City is facing tomorrow night at Sports Illustrated Stadium. I took a look at tickets. They're available for somewhere in the $20 to $23 vicinity for the cheapest tickets. Hopefully, we know there's going to be a lot of Puebla fans that are going to show up, and we know that they're going to be very, very loud. So here's hoping that the supporters that for some bloody reason continue to boycott games at Red Bull Arena or Sports Illustrated Stadium. It's not even called Red Bull Arena anymore. It's Sports Illustrated Stadium. Right. It's owned by Harrison. It's not owned by the team. Go to the damn game, for crying out loud.
And the
Red Bulls rent the stadium. They don't
one thing we could say, Roberto, it's an 8 p.m. kickoff or thereabouts. Yes. And so sometimes we've heard, and it's legit, that people get out of work and they just can't get to games on time. But that's
8 o'clock they can get there.
That doesn't work this time. All right, and just a final thought on the game is that we both talked to Pascal today, and we got no indication as to how he plans to set up tomorrow. So because there are so many different ways to go with this. With the young players, Musu is on the roster, guys like that, or how does he sort out? And how does he's got to keep building the minutes for Nico, the new DP. He's got to sort out the back because that's an issue until Thiago Martínez gets healthy, or another back is added. So there's a lot going on.
You got to rest Maxi, right? You can't start Maxi in this game. You got to rest him, and you have him on the bench.
If he starts this game on Tuesday, then we're going to have to
build the statue.
We're going to have to intervene
with the stadium. Build a statue in the Valley of the Ashes of Maxi Morales before you finish the stadium. If he starts tomorrow, start building the bloody, the statue.
Well, he's been fantastic, and he deserves to have a guy in there that can help take some of the pressure off of him too, like Nico Fernandez. All right.
Well, Alex Jimenez just wrote something really interesting, by the way. It was very frustrating. I guess we were talking about with the amount of people, but New York City against Tigres last season. Oh my freaking God! How good a game was that?
Yeah,
that's one of the games that I have rotating, by the way, on NYCFC.com/radio in Spanish. That's one of my 4 games that I have up there rotating 24 hours a day, because that game was just nuts. It was fantastic.
That was one of the best games in the Nick Cushing era for sure. That was
hell yeah.
That game was phenomenal. And the fact, look, they've gotten it right as far as the competitive nature of this. And we talked about this last year. No one wants to see an MLS team against an MLS team in the group stage of Leagues Cup. No one. So the fact that it's all League MX, MLS confrontations in the group stage is fantastic.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And by the way, for people who don't understand how the standings are going to work, right? So there's 18 teams on each side. So there's going to be a standings, right? And after 3 games, the top 4 teams are going to go on the Mexican side and on the MLS side. The top 4 teams qualify for the knockout stage, and that's the way it is. You go straight to quarterfinals, and it's going to be pretty interesting. You're going to have teams that don't lose. I believe that you're going to have teams that are going to go 3-0 and aren't going to make it because of goal difference. So it's going to be encouraging.
Haven't thought about that.
It's going to be encouraging teams to go and score goals and to win by the largest margins that you can. And it's going to be very, very interesting.
Now, I don't want anybody to be insulted by this as we close, because you have to laugh at these things. The worst marketing promotion in the history of sport, I'm about to show you.
Oh, God.
From the WNBA. Jimmy, put that up, man. It's that's the one where let her cook. So this it's a billboard. I don't know where that billboard is, and then it's the WNBA player holding it up. Let her cook. So obviously this is not necessarily appropriate at a time where these sorts of things aren't acceptable. If here's what I would say. If a television or radio broadcaster used those 3 words together on a women's sport, they would be fired the next morning. That would be it. They're done. So I don't know who came up with this marketing campaign.
I'm not sure, but I'm glad. I mean, it beat out. We have found out that it beat out. Let her clean up.
Come on, man.
Hell?
I don't know.
What are you doing? How did that get through? I mean, this isn't like a small, agile agency, that a couple of people see this and this goes out. You know how many layers of people that have to go and
somebody's
see
got
this, and nobody caught this?
Somebody has to approve that on an executive level, right?
On 10 different levels, not just one level. It's got to go through like committee against another committee, and oh my God, how does that get through?
Well, I hope nobody's really insulted. I just thought it was hilarious because of that context. Is that how could this happen? But I wonder how many more billboards were out there. Is there one in Times Square? I mean,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
Well, if somebody's seen it in Times Square and took a picture, share that with us if you would, please, next time. Just for giggles' sake. All right. So tomorrow at 7:30, Matty Lawrence and I'll have NYCFC. No, excuse me. What is it? 7 o'clock. We'll have NYCFC pregame live, 7 Eastern. And then at 7:45, both English and Spanish, the live commentary begins with our pregame show. I'll have Pascal Jansen and anybody
who did I have today? Andres Perea. I had Andres Perea. So
awesome.
He'll be on my pregame show. So that'll be good. So on our regular, as all of you either tune in on nycfc.com/radio or the New York City app or the TuneIn app or the Mixlr app. This week, we're both going to be on Sirius XM. Glenn is going to be on channel 157. I'm going to be with Ariel on 1999. It's probably not going to be on your app. It's not going to be like on your car radio. 157 will be. The car radio, it won't be on 1999, but it will be if you have like CarPlay or Android Play and you have the app, so you'll be able to listen to it there. But the start time on Sirius is 8 o'clock. So we're going to be 7:45 on all of the places that you normally hear us. But if you're going to listen to us via Sirius XM, those broadcasts, both English and Spanish, start at 8 p.m.
And guess which show is getting preempted for the broadcast?
Oh, well, about time.
The Coaching Academy.
You know how many times I turn on 157 and the minute some show ends, there goes, hey, it's the Coaching Academy with Glenn Crooks. And
well, I'm getting bumped tomorrow night for my own broadcast, so I guess it's okay.
Go listen to the Coaching Academy, by the way, folks. It's really, really good.
Well, thank you. The John Schrader, he'll be on next week, I think, and I forget who's on.
He's going to do he's setting up a interview with a lot of us who do Spanish radio.
He talked about digging into the Spanish side. He also right now is currently polling every MLS team, all 30 of them, to just get a feel for radio. English, Spanish, travel, don't travel. Where do you broadcast out? Is it a terrestrial radio? Is it streaming? So he's gonna. That's another thing he's coming back to us with. After he finds out about what 120,000 unique viewers means. He's going to come back with the results of that poll, and then I also asked him. I'm very curious about the Latin side, where he talked about the Latinos and supporting that community too, which is what you're talking about. So
exactly, and so subscribe to Soccer America, please, for that and for everything else that they do. Please subscribe to Soccer America.
It's the best bargain in soccer for getting your information.
It really is.
All right, we're gonna have to pay Jimmy overtime here. So for Roberto Abramowitz, I'm Glenn Crooks, and but thanks so much for joining us, and we'll talk to you tomorrow night at the game on NYCFC Views Live.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast NYCFC Views on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts.